beautiful souls. I made it on again. It's so crazy. Every time I come on these lives, I'm like, am I going to continue? Am I going to keep going? But this is the last day that I'm going to read Proverbs. And I wanted to do it before the end of the year. And I made it. I'm so glad. I'm in Proverbs. I'll be doing 29, 30, and 31. Happy Sunday. And I have not posted them on YouTube yet because I need to make space on my phone. And it's so crazy because that always, oh look at that, I opened up to Proverbs. It always stops me doing these lives because I want to post them, so I don't necessarily have space on my phone to post things, so I tend to stop. But we're gonna figure out how to get it on YouTube and TikTok. I'm gonna have to buy an SD card or something. If you know a good SD card, or micro SD card, I think that's what you have to use, because I don't trust my laptop right now. So I'm like, if I can just get it on an SD card, I can always put it back, or I can go download all the videos to a hard drive or thumb drive, one of those. But welcome in. Thank you for joining. Happy Sunday. I am so happy to be on. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do when I finish this chapter or this section. There's gonna be 3 chapters that I'm gonna read. It's so funny, my bunny's upset. She's throwing her stuff right now. I'm like, every time I get on these lives, it gets louder. My dog is whining. I think because my bunny's upset. I don't know if you could hear her. She's like throwing her plate. She's like, feed me. Let's see. So I am doing Proverbs 29, Proverbs 30, and 31. And then I finally finish. I'm not sure how long it's taken me. I think I started, I'm not sure when because I know I took a long break for doing my lives. I wrote it down, but I'm not sure when I actually, once I got my job, it got really hard to do these lives because I didn't have a set time, because I was doing a lot of these lives in the morning, then I was doing them at night, and I work really early in the morning, so doing them at night made me exhausted. So that's why I'm doing it on the weekend right now. Hello, welcome in everybody. I'm gonna do the last couple chapters of Proverbs. Yeah guys, I'm not sure. Maybe September? I don't know, I think I've been reading Proverbs since September. But, I mean, I've been reading other stuff, but on live, I haven't done it that long. So I'll go ahead and start Proverbs chapter 29. He who is often rebuked and hardens his neck will suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when a wicked man rules, the people groan. Whoever loves wisdom makes his father rejoice, but a companion of harlots wastes his wealth. The king establishes the land by justice, but he who receives bribes overthrows it. A man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his feet. By transgression an evil man is snared, but the righteous sings and rejoices. The righteous considers the cause of the poor, but the wicked does not understand such knowledge. Scoffers set a city aflame, but wise men turn away wrath. If a wise man contends with a foolish man, whether the fool rages or laughs, there is no peace. The bloodthirsty hate the blameless, but the upright seek his well-being. A fool vents all his feelings, but a wise man holds them back. If a ruler pays attention to lies, all his servants become wicked. The poor man and the oppressor have this in common: the Lord gives light to the eyes of both. The king who judges the poor with truth, his throne will be established forever. The rod and rebuke give wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother. When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases, but the righteous will see their fall. Correct your son, and he will give you rest. Yes, he will give delight to your soul. Where there is no revelation, the people cast off restraint. But happy is he who keeps the law. A servant will not be corrected by mere words, for though he understands, he will not respond. Do you see a man hasty in his words? There is more hope for a fool than for him. He who pampers his servant from childhood will have him as a son in the end. An angry man stirs up strife, and a furious man abounds in transgression. A man's pride will bring him low, but the humble in spirit will retain honor. Whoever is a partner with a thief hates his own life. He swears to tell the truth, but reveals nothing. The fear of man brings a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord shall be safe. Many seek the ruler's favor, but justice for man comes from the Lord. An unjust man is an abomination to the righteous, and he who is upright in the way is an abomination to the wicked. Thank you for the likes. Oh wow, that was a lot of likes. Thank you guys. I am shocked. Hello, hello. I hope you guys are doing well. Happy Sunday. Thank you guys for joining. I really want to do more of these lives. I don't have like a set day. Thank you for the follow. It doesn't tell me who followed me though. It just Arya. I think that says Arya. Thank you. And who's the other one that followed? It doesn't tell me the names. Amelia, thank you for the follow. I love reading the Bible on these lives. It helps me read a lot more. And if you guys have not read the Bible out loud, it is so different in the way, at least for me, the way that I learn. Hearing it and reading it and having the actual Bible versus like the Bible app or a phone, there's just something different that happens. I feel like I'm more focused and I'm not distracted because I'm actually reading it out loud. So it can be very difficult to, sometimes when we're reading, we tend to start thinking or dozing off or daydreaming or anything like that. But when you read it out loud, it's kind of harder to your mind doesn't go as fast. It still can, because there's sometimes I could read out loud and I'm just like, oh, what did I read? And that's not good. But most of the time it's very focused. I feel very aware of what's going on in the Bible, and I can see a little bit more than if I just read it, off my phone. There are times that I do listen to the Bible. At work, I listen to the Bible, and I have it playing quite often. I'm doing the 90-day, reading the Bible in 90 days, but I just kind of go off of the day. So far, I was going to finish by... My goal was 90 days from the end of the year. But I think right now I'm already in Matthew. So I don't know if I'm necessarily going to make it, but I'm going to keep reading it until I finish the plan, because the nice part is if you have the Bible app, there's a blue letter Bible, but the one I'm using right now is the U version. It's the Holy Bible app. It's the one that looks like a Holy Bible. And I use that one, and it has a 90-day plan. It actually has, I think, a 30-day plan, but I do speed it up. When I read the Bible, I think I'm reading, this one I don't know if I sped up. When I did the King James Version, I did put it in like 1.5 speed, maybe 2x when I was hiking at one point. So I'm like, I just want to read the whole Bible, and I didn't really want to read it as like in depth. I just wanted to read it like a book, because I think a lot of times when we try to read the Bible, we're so focused in like going deeper and, you know, what is it going to show me? And yeah, you know, you're going to get something out of what you read, but sometimes you just got to read the whole thing, and you got to get the whole picture, because we tend to focus on specific verses and stuff, and they can be very helpful, but the whole story is one story. There is one purpose, and it's just incredible to see that once you finish the whole Bible. And then going back, like I'm going slowly through Esther, so I have these individual notebooks that have each book of the Bible, and it's really cool. So I can take notes and I can highlight, because I write in my Bible, but I don't have like a good method. I bought a new Bible that you can write in on the side. Actually, I bought 2 Bibles so far. I found one at Ross for like $7. I think it was $7. So I bought it. It was only like this big. I did a little video on it. It was so tiny. And so I had to buy it because it was a pocket Bible, and it was a King James Bible. My pocket Bible that I do have, thank you for the follow, Colt. My pocket Bible that I did have is falling apart, and it's an ESV. So I wanted to have the New King James, because my church normally reads from so I got the King James, but my church normally reads from the New King James. So reading from the ESV and listening to the New King James is very difficult. But if I do the King James, it's a little bit easier to kind of match it. This Bible is New King James. I did hear something about the CSB, because the Bible that I'm reading right now on the YouVersion app is the NLT, the New Living Translation. So far I've read through the New King James, the King James, and this is the first time I'm reading all the way through the New Living Translation. And I'm also going through the chronological Bible, but like very slowly with my kids, because I want them to read the whole Bible, and we're almost coming up to half the Bible, so that has been really exciting. I think we started in March, and we go very slowly because they go with their dad. So I only read when they're here, and then if we go to service, then, you know, sometimes I'm just like, okay, we don't necessarily have to, but it all depends. It all depends on how the day goes. So I don't want it to be like something that's forced, but I just want it to be something part of their lives. So the chronological Bible has been really cool, because I think we were doing like Chronicles, and then it was like, I think what's First Samuel, and it was cool to see the layers of the Bible. But I would just suggest that you guys just read the Bible, and if you have to read it in an easier translation, NLT is a good one. I've been reading like that for the last couple of weeks, and it's been very helpful. I feel like the NLT is very easy to understand and to listen to, and it's not like super in-depth, but I feel like it's really nice to just to listen to it that way. I think it's more like the way we speak, I guess, more like English versus like the these, thous, or even sometimes the New King James can be a little bit, you know, we don't use that kind of language anymore. Our language is changing all the time and developing, and we have different words. I did show my kids the Gen Z Bible. That was funny. That was really funny. I would not suggest studying off of that, but if you want to see some funny stuff, the Gen Z Bible was hilarious. And we had listened to, I think it's like Hawaiian Pigeon was really cool. I love the sound of the Hawaiian Pigeon. I think Blue Letter Bible will read it to you. That was a cool one. I'm gonna read, there's only a couple of notes in my Bible about this chapter, so I'm gonna read some of them. And it says, and it was talking about verse 7, and it says, a compassionate attitude towards those in need demonstrate a godly character. And then I have a woman's Bible, so if it says like a woman or she, it's because the Bible's focused on women. The woman of strength extends her hand to the poor. And it says, for verse 11, it says, the slave to impulse has no power to keep back the expression of what he feels. Every feeling is voiced, every emotion or gripe is vented. Such a person has no control over his words and actions. In contrast, the wise person keeps himself under control. Although he feels irritation, he is characterized by self-control. His irritation does not explode in anger. Hold them back literally is soothe or still, is the calming of the storm of emotions. Now, that's very important. I think I'm still learning that. I do not think I have that completely under control, but I think that I've gotten much better with it. For verse 15, it says, the rebuke, verbal discipline, and the rod, physical discipline, are tools to make children wise. The child left to himself lives without restriction, allowed to run wild and go unchecked. This child brings shame to his mother. How difficult to find the balance. Often parents are inconsistent, not faithful in discipline, or too severe in punishment. Much prayer, patience, and perseverance is needed to be a parent with the right mixture of love and discipline. But it is worth the effort. I love that because I just saw a video on... It was talking about not compromising for your children. And I really enjoyed it. I think I put it on my stories in my IG. I'll go ahead and continue in Proverbs chapter 30. The words of Agur, the son of Jacob, his utterance. The man declares to Ithiel and Ukal, surely I am more stupid than any man, and do not have the understanding of a man. I neither learn wisdom nor have knowledge of the Holy One. Who has ascended into heaven or descended? Who has gathered the wind in his fist? Who has bound the waters in a garment? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is his son's name, if you know? Every word of God is pure. He is a shield to those who put their trust in him. Do not add to his words, lest he rebuke you, and you be found a liar. 2 things I request of you. Deprive me not before I die. Remove falsehood and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food allotted to me, lest I be full and deny you, and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal, and profane the name of my God. Do not malign a servant to his master, lest he curse you, and you be found guilty. There is a generation that curses its father, and does not bless its mother. There is a generation that is pure in its own eyes, yet is not washed from its filthiness. There is a generation, oh how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. There is a generation whose teeth are like swords, and whose fangs are like knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, and the needy from among men. The leech has 2 daughters, give and give. There are 3 things that are never satisfied, 4 never say enough: the grave, the barren womb, the earth that is not satisfied with water, and the fire never says enough. The eye that mocks his father and scorns obedience to his mother, the ravens of the valley will pluck it out, and the young eagles will eat it. There are 3 things which are too wonderful for me, yes, 4 which I do not understand: the way of the eagle in the air, the way of the serpent on a rock, the way of a ship in the midst of the sea, and the way of a man with a virgin. This is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipes her mouth, and says, I have done no wickedness. For 3 things the earth is perturbed. Yes, for 4 it cannot bear up. For a servant when he reigns, a fool when he is filled with food, a hateful woman when she is married, and a maidservant who succeeds her mistress. There are 4 things which are little on the earth, but they are exceedingly wise. The ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their food in the summer. The rock badgers are a feeble folk, yet they make their homes in the crags. The locusts have no king, yet they all advance in ranks. The spider skillfully grasps with its hands, and it is in kings' palaces. There are 3 things which are majestic in pace, yes, 4 which are stately in walk: a lion, which is mighty among beasts, and do not turn away from any. a greyhound, a male goat also, and a king whose troops are with him. If you have been foolish in exalting yourself, or if you have devised evil, put your hand on your mouth, for as the churning of milk produces butter, and wringing the nose produces blood, so the forcing of wrath produces strife. The thing about the Proverbs, for those of you who haven't read any of the Proverbs, sometimes I feel like they're like little couplets. I'm not sure too much on why they're put that way, because sometimes it's like, oh, that kind of goes here, but this is like a whole new subject, and this is a new subject. So I don't know how they how it was necessarily presented, if it was like a note or something. I'm gonna look on my Bible has some backgrounds and themes and dates and stuff. It doesn't necessarily say, because there's like a couple of it says the author was Solomon, and that was most of the book. And then for this chapter, it says Agora. Nothing is known for Agora. Was Proverbs 30 is described, or Lemo were found in Proverbs 31. Oh, so I think they're still from Solomon, but it's just who are the people that he's talking to. The words of Agora from a separate collection of Proverbs, and are somewhat different in tone from the rest of the book. A variety of literary forms have been used, including prayer, argument, instruction, and enchanting numerical sayings that are more like puzzles than proverbs. The question in verse 4 reminds us of Job 38 through 41. Nothing is known of Agur, but he was apparently a well-known sage. Ithel and Ukal were evidently his students, or possibly his sons. Agur shows a spirit of humility. Genuine humility is seen in the scripture as a sign of wisdom and greatness. So this one is like different than all the other chapters. So I wonder if this is something that Solomon had heard and he's passing on, or if it was just added to his writings. I have not studied that, so I don't know. There's quite a few notes here. It says, the words of doubt and skepticism seem to belong to the book of Job or Ecclesiastes more than to the book of Proverbs. These words show that the part of the ministry of the teachers, along with their instruction in the path of wisdom, was dealing with uncertainties of faith. Agur says that he is incapable of comprehending the mind of finite man. How can he presume to try to understand the workings of God's infinite mind? There's no evidence that Agur has not applied himself to the study of wisdom, but much rather, after all his study, he still has not mastered the subject. And I love that, because even with Solomon, when he gets to writing in Ecclesiastes, I feel like he's almost too wise for his good, because everything doesn't necessarily make sense anymore, because one of the verses is like vanity, vanities, it's all vanity. I'm saying that wrong, but in Ecclesiastes it says, like, I know I said that wrong, because as it was coming out of my mouth, I'm like, I'm saying it's different than when I heard it in my head. And he goes into a lot. Like, I love Ecclesiastes. Or even like for chapter 1, verse 18, it says, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he who increases knowledge increases sorrow. And he had such like a, he had everything, but he didn't grasp, I think not till later, what was important. It wasn't what he had. It wasn't the woman power. All was vanity and grasping for the wind. Talks a lot about vanity. This is also is vanity and grasping for the wind. There's the one person that really asked God for wisdom, and God gave him so much more. Oh, here it is. Vanity of vanity, says the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. That's the second verse of Ecclesiastes. So sometimes when, it takes wisdom can lead to much grief. So sometimes we have to just really focus on the joy of the Lord, because there's so much. I think, when you're a kid and you believe everything that your parents say, or you have so much hope and you don't know what the world is really like, and then you get older and you learn and you become wise and you grow in wisdom and you have knowledge, and the world seems worse and worse and worse each day. So it can be I think a lot of people have most of that trouble in their 30s, probably late 20s, and they're searching for themselves, they're looking, and it just seems like life is meaningless. We're just here, then we die, and everybody's looking for what happens when they die. My pastor was talking about how this generation is the generation that thinks that everybody goes to heaven. And the Bible doesn't say that. It doesn't say that everybody gets to go to heaven. Jesus died on the cross to save everybody. But a lot of people are going to reject him. And a lot of people are not going to make it. And we have to receive a gift. When you reject a gift, because a lot of people are like, oh, but why is God sending people to hell? And it's like, I heard something, I think they said it this way, where God has given them what they wanted. They don't want God. They don't want Jesus. God's giving them this gift of salvation, but they want to be as far away as they can to Jesus, and the only place would be hell, because God, that's where he's just not there. He's not reigning there. He's not, that's where everything that everyone that rejects him will go. It's a very scary place to be. I'm always praying that too. It's like, Lord, am I gonna be that person that they say, Lord, Lord, and he said, I never knew you? It's like, I don't ever want to be in that situation. I want to do everything for him, and I want to do everything in response to what he's already given me. And that's, because you can't win your way or serve your way into heaven. God gives that freely. We accept that. But in response, and as his children, we respond in faith and righteousness and holiness and love, and it's not the same kind of love that we all in this time are learning. There's a lot of different definitions for love, and the only true love is the biblical love. It's not this temporary thing. It's long lasting. It's unconditional. And we tend to do that. We tend to be like, oh, well, I'm going to be their friend, and only if they want to be my friend. Or I'm going to be nice to them only if they're nice to me. And that's not what love is. Love is something that surpasses that. It's past a feeling. It's past this it's more a supernatural thing, because it's a choice. It's a decision. It's an action, and it's not just I love you today, but I don't love you tomorrow. It's like love is a biblical love in the Bible, agape love. It's what 1 Corinthians 13 talks about. Love is patient, kind, and there's a whole list in what love is, and it's very important that we love, because this world doesn't understand love. They think that we love in acceptance, we love in not confronting sins, not pointing out something that's wrong. We tend to embrace people's sin, embrace their truth, or embrace their way of life that's not in line with the Bible, and it's almost like we're walking them to hell. We're just like, oh yeah, you could live your life that way and still do this and do that and follow God. And it's like, no, like it's a whole repentance. It's turning away from your sin. Yes, we're gonna sin, but sometimes there's this active sin. We have active sin in our life that is just a consistent thing that we need to give up, and we need to turn from, and we need to prepare for it. Because when people fall away from their faith, it's not a instant thing. It's normally a gradual slope. When people fall into sin, and they say they fall into sin, but you don't just fall into sin. Like, it's not like this cliff and you're just like, oh, I just fell off the cliff. It's literally a gradual decline. It's almost like you're in a pool and you're walking to the deep end, and at one point you're underwater and you're like, how did I get here? Well, way back there when it was 3 feet and 2 feet and 1 foot, like that's how you got there. And having friends that are by your side, that are God-fearing and not afraid to tell you what you're doing wrong, that's how it's going to stop you. You're going to have that person being like, wait a minute, you're going too far. Wait a minute, you're going the wrong way. And it's very important. It's very important to love your friends and share with them when something is not in line with Scripture. And to encourage, because I think sometimes we forget to encourage our friends. We forget to encourage them in what they're doing right. And we're like, okay, well, what are they doing wrong? You're like, I want to make sure they're the best that they can be, but we forget to encourage the gifts that they have, encourage the steps they've taken to get out of sin, or steps they've taken to move forward, to grow in their word. If you see a change in your friend from 1 year to the next in their growth, tell them, give them that encouragement, because it's very important. It's very important to have a balance of encouragement and correction. I think you, even in giving that correction, you have to do it in love. You can't just. I think that's what can be difficult, because there are a lot of people who be like, well, my job is to go around and tell people what they're doing wrong. And it's like, people don't accept that. People are not going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, they understand love. They understand friendship and people in their lives that they know are rooting for them and are not saying things, just to pick on them. So it's very good to surround yourself with people that are going to encourage you and correct you. I'm going to do the last chapter because I have a little bit more time. Then I finish Proverbs. I'm going to, once I get it off my phone, I'm going to put this on my YouTube and my TikTok page as well. So individually, I'll try to do it on my TikTok page, and I'll have the rest of the Proverbs. Right now I have Proverbs 1 through 24 on there, and then so after this one I'll have 25 through 31. Proverbs 31. The words of King Lemuel, the utterance which his mother taught him. What, my son, and what son of my womb, and what son of my vows, do not give your strength to women, nor your ways to that which destroys kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes intoxicating drink, lest they drink and forget the law, and pervert the justice of all the afflicted. Give strong drink to him who is perishing, and wine to those who are bitter of heart. Let him drink and forget his poverty, and remember his misery no more. Open your mouth for the speechless, in the cause of all who are appointed to die. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, so he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax, and willingly works with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. She also rises while it is yet night, and provides food for her household, and a portion for her maidservants. She considers a field and buys it. From her profits she plants a vineyard. She girds herself with strength, and straightens her arm. She perceives that her merchandise is good, and her lamp does not go out by night. She stretches out her hand to the distaff, and her hand holds the spindle. She extends her hand to the poor. Yes, she reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household is clothed with scarlet. She makes a tapestry for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates. When he sits among the elders of the land, she makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies sashes for the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness. She watches over the ways of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many daughters have done well, but you excelled them all. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. There's like 3 notes here, and it says, the fear of the Lord brings purpose and meaning to this earthly existence. Throughout Proverbs, wisdom is portrayed through contrast between wise and the foolish, the good and the evil, giving practical everyday advice for living and relating to people. The excellent wife lives and embodies wisdom in her home, in her community, and in her relationships. The key to all she has become is clear. She has feared and reverenced the Lord. A virtuous woman, literally a woman of strength, is trustworthy and will never do anything to bring dishonor to her husband's name. All the days of her life indicates her forever commitment to her husband. This description of the wise woman of strength ends with the testimony of those who know her best, her husband and her children. Her children bless her for their early training. Her husband praised her for her excellence among women. The praise from family was the most meaningful because they were the ones who observed her in every situation and truly knew her character. Such praise should encourage every woman to follow in the steps and acquire wisdom, as did this extraordinary woman. And with that, guys, I'm going to take off. Thank you guys for so much for joining. I will hopefully see you soon. I'm not sure the next book that I'll go through, but I'm thinking of Esther because I've been wanting to go a little bit more in depth with Esther. So I hope you have a blessed week. Happy New Year!